Hi, welcome to the Leadership Lab. A government job is always on the checklist of millions of people. Today, we have with us someone who has checked on that list. Mr. Nilesh Gandhi is a graduate in pharmacy and law. After working for 4 years with the manufacturing department, he then joined the Food and Drug Administration, Maharashtra State, as a drug inspector in 1992. He was then later promoted as the Assistant Commissioner, Drugs, FDA, Maharashtra. He has had some award-winning contribution during his tenure in the FDA. He was awarded as the Best Drug Inspector by the AID-COC. He was also awarded as the Best FDA Person by the 54th IPC Trust, Pune in the year 2007. After 26 years of satisfying journey with the FDA, he then opted for voluntary retirement and started his sole proprietary firm called Pharmacad, where he provides legal, technical, and professional guidance to the upcoming pharmaceutical companies. Let us talk with the highly experienced Mr. Nilesh Gandhi at the Leadership Lab. First of all, thank you so much, sir, for joining us at the Leadership Lab, which is a Pharmacad Initiative. I'm very sure that the students will be highly motivated after listening to you and your experience and your journey throughout this professional career. And many of them will look up to you and try to follow your career path as well. So starting with the first question, is a straight one. What is your current job profile and what exactly do you do there? That's most of the students who want to know what happens in those government offices inside the FDA.
Right, right. First of all, thank you, Pranav, for interacting with me and giving me opportunity to share my views with the students. Thank you. And as for your question, first question that how was my career or current profile? I'll talk about current profile. I am right now freelancing, and I am doing legal technical advice to the pharmaceutical and medical device industry, and this is primarily for the regulations pertaining to Drugs and Cosmetic Act, drugs and cosmetic rules, medical devices rules, then drugs price control order, drugs and magic remedies, new drugs and clinical trials rules. So these are some drug laws which are enforced in India, and I give advice on these rules, regulations, regulatory compliances, and there are few retainers which are there, and people come approach for opinions and advice.
Great, all right.
Yeah.
And
So if you are talking about FDA, people would be interested in knowing the career at FDA or how is the working in government offices. So actually, I was in private industry. I was working in a pharmaceutical industry and manufacturing section, and I was learning in tablet manufacturing, capsules manufacturing, liquid orals, ointments. Then through Service Commission, I have joined FDA as a drugs inspector. Usually, the entry is through Public Service Commission at the central level as well as state level. So, after having passed the Public Service Commission, exams, interviews, and then you get selected to this post. Then I joined the FDA. I worked for about 26 years in FDA. I was promoted as a assistant commissioner also, and then I took a conscious decision that whatever knowledge and experience I have gained, I will be able to share with the industry, because in a state government framework or any government framework, there are limitations for your growth as well as advice. So I cannot advise freely with industry. So I thought my knowledge and whatever experience I have gained, that will be better helpful to the industry. So I took voluntary retirement after 26 years, and now I am in freelancing.
that's great, sir. So now you're actually helping the industries to grow with all the legal knowledge and experience that you have gained in the
Right.
those 26 great years at the FDA. It's very nice. So, sir,
Actually, industry needs a proper guidance.
absolutely.
Means people are there, but then actual proper guidance as far as the legal compliances and regulatory compliance are concerned, that is the requirement of the industry current requirement. So I'm trying to satisfy their requirement.
That's great, sir. That's absolutely great. So, sir, one another question which is relevant to your previous experience is what kind of growth aspects or growth opportunities are available for students if they happen to join into the government services, into public services? What kind of growth aspects are available horizontally and vertically?
Acha, okay. Right now, there are very few opportunities in government sector because almost the posts are full, except
Right.
in case of Maharashtra. Maharashtra, there is some process going on, which is going on for about couple of years, and there were some litigations, so it is in process.
Right.
And in coming days, it would be finalized. But
Okay.
then, if you talk about other states and central government, they have already done with their post filling. But then you have opportunity with hospital pharmacist also. That is also government job.
Okay.
And if you talk about enforcement, that would come in future also. Post of drug inspector as well as assistant commissioner. I'll talk about FDA Maharashtra. There are about 163 posts right now, sanctioned posts in as a drug inspector, and 52, no, 54 assistant commissioner posts are there. So drug inspector 100% is through Public Service Commission, and out of this 54 posts, half of the post 50% are filled by MPSC and 50% by promotion. So there also you have chance for competing and entering into FDA as assistant commissioner. Then after that you have the promotional avenue to serve as a joint commissioner, which is the last post, highest post in FDA Maharashtra. So joint commissioner FDA is a licensing authority for manufacturing at divisional level as well as headquarters level. There are 8 posts of joint commissioner in FDA Maharashtra, and assistant commissioners are licensing authorities for sales, and they help joint commissioner in making decisions and submitting the proposals of manufacturers.
All right. Okay. Right. So, we have anything above the joint commissioner from the for a promotional point of view or exam point of view, or that's
That directly you cannot join as a joint commissioner.
okay.
That is a promotional post.
Promotion.
You can be promoted if you are an assistant commissioner and completing 5 years, at least 5 years experience in enforcement. So that is must. So unless you have knowledge and experience of enforcement, you will not be able to perform well, do the duties and responsibilities as given in drugs and cosmetic rules. So that is the basic minimum requirement. It is in recruitment rules of the government of Maharashtra, and accordingly the posts are filled.
All right. And so, apart from the entrance exams, is there any work experience requirement to be joining as a drug inspector or any other post in the FDA?
Yeah, a drug inspector, you should have minimum 3 years experience in manufacture of drugs or testing of drugs. And if you are opting for assistant commissioner, the experience should be 5 years, at least in manufacture of drugs or testing of drugs.
Thank you so much for this information. I'm sure the students will be noting this down as well. And so, you have already spoken about one very big decision that you have taken to take a voluntary retirement and then come into the freelancing part and now help private industries. Could you also tell us what was that moment in your life where you were encouraged to join the government part? How did you come across this beautiful journey? Like, what made you take this path?
Actually, as students have some liking or their inclination to work in enforcement agency. This post is looked at as a glamorous post because they enjoy a lot of buzz, and people look at them as a guidance and as a knowledgeable person as far as legal requirements are concerned. So while we come across these regulators while we work in industry, and we get to know their wide experience because they get opportunity to visit many industries, different types of industries, and due to that experience exposure, they have lot of experience and knowledge about that. So they are able to guide the industry also, that you should make these changes, and this is the what the recent trend in technology is. So when I faced come across the drug enforcement officers or drugs inspectors while I was working in industry, that was really a encouraging part, and I thought, yes, this is the field where we can contribute and we can have that expertise. So this was one issue, and then thereafter I joined FDA, and really I had vast experience, and I got opportunity to work in intelligence branch also. I worked in WHO GMP section where WHO GMP certifications are done, and I got opportunity to work in the IT section of the FDA, wherein we had developed one software for issuing the WHO GMP certificates. Then thereafter we expanded it to application to the licensing part also. So this was a good exposure. So having this exposure of IT and how the intelligence branch work, how the investigations are done, I thought I am well equipped now. I can move on to the for this what I am doing right now.
Thank you so much, sir. So, any challenges that you faced during your college days or during your industry days, and how did you try to overcome those challenges? Because such a huge journey, I'm pretty sure there would be several challenges across the way. So, how did you try to
Yeah,
overcome certain challenges?
yeah, actually, as I was a student, or I was working in pharmaceutical industry, there were many challenges, but that were related to some technical issues or day-to-day issues, and that I would work on by interacting with the experts or reading the Martindale, Exto Pharmacopoeia, Rementer's Pharmacy, etc. But then when I joined FDA, I was really inspired by the stalwarts in FDA. I can name few of them. Mr. V.D. Deshmukh, who was retired, late V.D. Deshmukh, he was ex-commissioner of FDA. And then Mr. R.W. Goodall and Mr. S.W. Deshpande. They were joint commissioners, and now they have retired. I have learned a lot from them because of their sincerity, honesty, way of working, and really dedication. Even now, means even V.D. Deshmukh sir was working till end. Even he was 80 plus. Still, he was working. He had good knowledge. He was updated, and industry was behind him for seeking any legal or technical opinion.
Advice, right?
Even now, Mr. Goodall and S.W. Deshpande, they are almost in 80s. Still, they are active and sharp and really helping industry. So this is really inspiring. And if you look at such type of people who are experts, so it is really inspiring. And you means you are inspired to going on this path, their
Absolutely,
path.
absolutely. When you have such great torch bearers, you definitely want to work in that direction and work harder and try to
Right, right.
get on the same pages as them. Absolutely, sir. Very true. Sir, any specific ethics or principles that you have followed to, like, you have strongly stuck to those ethics or principles to take your journey to this level? Anything,
Yeah,
anything?
actually, I would I would look as unrealistic or some orthodox or a more ethical kind of thing. But really, I would like to say that by my experience, if you have some principles, ethics in your life, then your journey is smooth. Smooth in sense you get to achieve something and you don't never repent on things. And if you are sincere about it, success follows. So this is first thing I would say by my experience, that you should be sincere, honest, dedicated, and honest to your job, honest to your whatever you are doing. So this is the basic thing which everybody should think. You should not consider that now in these days these principles are not applicable and you have to make compromises and all that. Nothing of that sort. By my experience, I can say that these are still the principles to be followed, and if you go by that, success follows.
Absolutely.
And
Very, very
really it is means to overcome challenges also, it is not difficult if you follow these things, because you if you are believing in yourself, then you can overcome any challenge. And challenges are always I think so, they should be looked at as opportunities rather than challenges. Because I can quote one example. When I was in intelligence branch, and I had one case that was related to my family itself, that my mother took one drug. She was having dysentery and diarrhea, and she was prescribed with dihydrohydroquinone tablets. And that time she took that, and she had rashes, skin rashes. So I was in Mumbai and she was at my native place, but still I got to know that this is due to some reaction, adverse reaction. So I told her to consult doctor again. He prescribed some antihistaminics. But then I took that sample of drugs, hydroxyquinone tablets, informally, got it tested from private lab, and it was shocking that it was not containing dihydrohydroquinone, but it was containing dinitolamide, a veterinary drug. So this is a long time back, about 18 to 20 back old story. But then we swung into action. IB team of IB, we made some investigations, seizures, and we reached to the manufacturer. Manufacturing was done in Gujarat, and then we made out a case. So this has really means taught me that what is the importance of the quality assurance, quality control, and GMP, as well as the role of enforcing authorities to help the healthcare system and to ensure that the right quality drugs are available to the public.
absolutely. And being such a professional field, it's the margin of error is very less for the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
industry.
Yes, yes, yes. So
And
even minor thing, because a lot many nowadays the era is of compliances, and many compliances are required to be done, and some of the people don't understand. They think that these are not actually required, or these are non-tariff barriers which are put in by the importers or the Western countries. But then each thing nowadays, the concept of kappa is there, investigations are there, or OS, OOT, or how to do the compliances, how to investigate case, or how to investigate the audit trails. Lot many things are there. So each thing has its own importance, and it has significance. And if it is not done in that way, it will you will not be able to ensure that the right product, right or desired quality product is in the market.
absolutely,
So
sir.
this has to be taken very seriously, what I want to say.
Very true, very true. We generally sometimes when I speak to a lot of students, so pharmacy, the P stands for professionalism. If we remove the P, it becomes pharmacy. So if we remove the
Right.
professionalism, it becomes pharmacy for us. So
Very
yeah,
true.
very, very true, sir. It has to be
Yeah.
spot on. And
Mm.
so, if you are into reading books of for self development also, would you like to suggest any one or two books to the students who which they can
Uh,
read for their development?
One thing I would like to say, that they should first read autobiography of Gandhiji. experiments with. So that is the best thing, wherein you will be able to develop your uh, personality and know the importance of truth. So this is the basic thing. They can go read many biographies also of eminent personalities. They can also see this mm, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and they can how to win friends of Dale Carnegie.
Right.
So that is also both are good books. So that will develop your personality.
And definitely make sure that the students note that down as well. What kind of background would be preferred in the government domain? Should a student be just a B Farm and then get into the government job, or should he do at least a master's to get more knowledge, technical knowledge about the pharmaceutical industry? What would you suggest?
I'll tell you that almost the recent means 2012 batch which has joined FDA Maharashtra of drugs inspector. Almost all are MPharm, and many of them are PhDs.
Oh, all
So
right.
this is what current batch is consisting. So definitely BPharm is not enough. Even though the minimum eligibility is BPharm, there is no bar. That is not requirement that you should be MPharm or PhD. But still, while you perform as a in the screening test or in the interview, definitely you if you are PhD or if you are MPharm, and if you have good amount of experience, you perform well. So obviously the chances of getting selected are better. And in addition to that, if you are working in FDA in manufacturing or whatever, you are better in position to understand the manufacturing techniques or how to guide the industry. So you are in better place there. So you should have that additional qualification.
Right.
That is preferable.
And so any motivational message, any general message for our students who are looking up to you and trying to build a career in this pharmaceutical industry? Any message that you would like to share with them?
Mm, one saying I would like to say by the German physicist Albert Einstein. What he says, imagination is more important than knowledge, because how to apply your knowledge is depends on what is your imagination, where to apply, how to apply, and what is your how do you visualize that issue. If you have that imagination power, then you will be able to apply knowledge. Knowledge is important, no doubt, but the imagination is more important than knowledge.
Right.
It is rightly said by
Absolutely. Very
Einstein.
true. Very true, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us with this. This was our last question for the session. Thank you for watching the Leadership Lab. If you have any questions for our speakers or any suggestions for us, you can email to us on pharmacad.mumbai@gmail.com. And the title of the email should be the Leadership Lab. And we shall try to send your questions to the speakers and get the answers at the earliest. Thank you so much for supporting. Keep watching. Take care.